After spending 2 days in Melbourne, we flew to Hobart, the capital of Tasmania, which is one of Australia's island states. And we spent 3 pretty packed days here exploring museums, animals, and islands. But our first stop was this insane museum called the MONA, which I believe stands for the Museum of New and Old Art. And I mean, you can just see how interesting some of these pieces are. It was very interactive and almost uncanny. Sometimes it was kind of creepy, honestly. And we were there for a solid 2 to 3 hours, I believe. This museum was also all underground. Honestly, it felt like a really big adult playground on an acid trip. This place was also huge, and there were so many nooks and crannies that you could explore. I think it had a total of 3 floors underground. And I mean, look at this drawing thing. We saw this while we were trying to find the bathroom. Isn't that insane? And I think these are real samples from the bombing of Hiroshima, which is like, okay. Also, I think this was literally a live studio recording as a display. Like, you could listen to the recording through these headphones. And then there was this piece where this liquid was reflective, and if you touched it, it would stain your clothes forever. So, let's be very careful. But honestly, probably one of my favorite parts of this museum is whenever they would take us back into the 1900s-ish retro style and music, and this record wall was really cool. Also, this was a real person setting up for an actual performance, and this bar was real. Oh my god, but this was the weirdest part. I think this was a hoop exhibit? I don't know. We didn't stay for that long, but it was hooping or making something.
Is that why it loves you?
And this super cool Porsche. It was honestly just so beautiful in general though, and a really cool experience to walk through. But this was crazy. This was a real recording of some girl making a Hitler song, mocking him, which was honestly very entertaining. But yeah, you can tell from my reaction, we were in shock. Okay, but look at this interactive mommy walk-through experience. This was on platforms in the water. It was shallow water, of course. This was so creepy. To be honest, I still don't know what it means. Here's the guy actually performing, and look, people are watching. Isn't that crazy? And yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to show this, but this was in their gift shop. But the experience didn't end on the inside. It kept going even onto the outside. Look at this playground architecture, and there's even a little one hanging onto the person on top of the head. Isn't that adorable? And then, of course, my sister had to regress and hop on the swing, but no judgment. Swings have no age limit. Then we spent a day traveling to Bruny Island. We took this car ferry. And our first stop was a drive-through oyster bar called Get Shucked. We were literally the first ones there when it opened, so we probably got the freshest oysters that day. Look at how stocked their fridge is. They also had smoked salmon and other smoked meats. But look at them opening the oysters. These are some of the best oysters I think I've ever had. They were incredibly fresh. We got a sampler of each of their offerings and then another half dozen of the oysters. For the rest of our time on the island, we basically drove around and stopped at almost every single viewpoint we could find. Look at how gorgeous this is. It genuinely felt like we were in a movie scene. The ocean looked unreal.
It smells funky.
Then during our drive to the end of the island to see the lighthouse, we decided to go off-road, unbeknownst to us. And there was this big tree in the middle of the road that my dad had to move for us. This was quite a moment. We also saw these two people biking up this road, which is crazy because it was incredibly steep and rocky. I can't believe the physical strength of these people. But as we were approaching the lighthouse, look at how beautiful the ocean looked here. I swear it all looked fake, like everything was on Technicolor in real life. We also spotted our first wallabies on our way to the lighthouse. Look at them. After this, we drove back to the ferry and hopped on the car ferry back, and then we drove up to Mount Wellington. And when I say it was windy, I mean it was windy. genuinely spent 5 minutes probably just standing still on the top of this mountain because I was so scared of moving and getting blown off balance. But the views were definitely worth it. It was honestly kind of funny watching everybody trying to not get blown away by this wind. And at the end of the day, we stopped by this zoo to do a night tour to see the famous Tasman devil, which is literally what this island is named after, or this animal was named after the island one way or the other. Oh my god. We also got to feed some kangaroos. Also, look at how many kangaroos there were in this enclosure, and I'm so surprised they don't just hop out. But they were so friendly, they were so gentle and soft, and they were so hungry as well.
Oh, you're so cute. There you go. You're so gentle.
We also got to see a wombat, and they took us on a tour to see some of their other local animals as well. I also learned that wombats use their hard bum for a defense mechanism. Isn't that crazy? I wish I could do that. That was definitely an interesting experience because I've never done a zoo night tour before. Then we spent some time on this Tasman Island Cruise. And it was insanely windy, but we got these super stylish red wind jackets. I mean, we even had to wear seatbelts, so that just gives you an idea. They took us to see the beautiful coastline, and we saw so many different rock formations. And look at this ginormous waterfall, isn't it beautiful? Hobart was definitely such a unique and quaint little town. I also just really enjoyed walking through the city by myself. It was pretty small, and there was so much variety in the nature and landscapes we were able to see. And apparently some people rock climb from this pillar, which I can't even wrap my head around. And at the very end of the island, apparently somebody used to live here because look at that house. And there was even a little mine shaft that went up. Our time here was coming to an end, and it was time for a big change of scenery. In the next one, we're going to Sydney, which is probably one of the most beautiful cities that we went to in Australia. We got to go into the Opera House, do the beautiful coastal walk along Bondi Beach, and experience the Great Vivid Festival. So make sure to subscribe to stay updated on the next episode to chip in on the debate if Melbourne or Sydney is better.